From me, Brent Graham, and welcome to this Stage 8 betting preview for Goodforthegame.co.za. We will, of course, also be having a look at Stage 7 and doing a wrap-up of what was one of the best Tour de France stages I've ever seen. In fact, I'm going to start with that route now. Let's have a look at it before we go on to Stage 8. You look at this route, and yes, it was a tough start, but as the betting suggested, the sprinters were expected to fight this out. But a team like Bora had other ideas, and they set a hectic gallop on this Category 3 climb, dropping a lot of the sprinters. Caleb Ewan, who we had said wouldn't finish on the podium at even money, I was more than happy to see him drop out the back, along with a lot of other sprinters. But perhaps a little bit surprising was that Bennett, the green jersey, dropped out. And of course, Bora's team, Sagan, just kept setting an incredible gallop. We had mentioned yesterday the crosswinds would play a role, and they most certainly did, because once the gaps were formed, it was very hard to close them down a bit again. And Bora did an incredible job of work until the first sprint, where Sagan was actually just pipped by Matteo Trentin. At that stage, I was pretty excited to have Trentin in the top group because I saw him gaining big points on some of the riders ahead of him today. But unfortunately, he did get distanced later on in the stage when Ineos put their foot on the pedal in the crosswinds. Anyway, Bora carried on with the effort, which surprised me a little bit. I thought they might let Bennett's group catch up and even get Quickstep to do a bit of work on the front. But no, they kept on going, and we really had an absolutely thrilling stage. Eventually, the green jersey group of Bennett gave up the ghost, and it was potentially a chance that the guys would go quietly to the end. Thomas de Gent did an attack, a typical Thomas de Gent move, really strongly. Managed to stay away for quite a while away. He was never given more than about 50 seconds by the bunch, was always unlikely to win it from there. But good to see that Tommy de Gent has some good legs. And as they came down into another crosswind section, well, then Ineos opened it up, and then we got all sorts of drama. We got splits. Richie Porte was in the third group on the road. We had Pogacar and Landa in the second group. And of course, we had the likes of Astana now in the front group working really, really hard to distance those guys, because Superman Lopez, well, he managed to make the split, as did most of the other favorites. Bernal as well. Ineos did a lot of work. Jumbo-Visma, well, they were able to sit back in the bunch and see the other teams do most of the work. But who was it who jumped out and won the stage? None other than Wout van Aert. What an absolutely brilliant ride. He was not targeting the stage. He was there to work for his captain. But when the opportunity came, he jumped on it. And heartbreak for NTT's Edvald Boasson also did a great sprint. I'm harping on about this stage because, quite frankly, it was one of the great stages. I actually had a day's leave on Friday. It was my anniversary. And I spent the afternoon sitting on the couch watching the stage. And I'm so happy I could give it my full attention. It really was great. Let's just have a look at the classifications. Then we had Wout van Aert from Boasson. Kokar, he finished in third. Laporte, a good ride from the Cofidis rider there, coming in fourth. Jasper Stuyven also strong. I know a couple of the guys on my WhatsApp group are on him. Clement Venturini, AG2R, he finished quite strongly as well. Interesting, Egan Bernal up there in 8th place. Adam Yates hung on to the yellow jersey. But I just want to go down a bit, because what happened here, I had my main bet of the day was Ewan not to finish in the top 3, so that at least arrived. But then I had a match bet treble, and my treble was Bennett over Ewan, which arrived. The other leg was a Sagan over, who was it over? I can't remember, but it was definitely someone who was in the back group, so I was looking pretty strong. And my last leg was Case Bowl, the Sunweb rider, against Christoph, and I knew they were both in the absolutely last bunch. So once again, I had to scroll down the results. Now, this is a 33-10 treble, so I was looking at quite a nice win if Bowl, who had been 4-10 to beat Christoph, could just do the business. And of course, I scrolled, and I could barely find these guys. But here we go. We're coming up, I can tell you. And once again, unfortunately, it is going to be disappointment. There's Christoph in 152nd spot. And if we go a bit further down, I was hoping I might have missed him, but I hadn't. Case Bowl there in 159th. Of course, they finished on the same time. And then, the thing is with us, obviously neither of them were racing each other at this point. So all I needed was a bit of luck and for Bowl to finish in front of Christoph. There were a couple of Sunweb riders up ahead, but unfortunately it was not the case. What a great ride, though. And a couple of guys losing some fairly big time there. Of course, Pogacar and Landa, they're losing over a minute. So that has shaken things up a bit. It may not be a bad thing for the Tour, because those two guys are both attacking by nature, and they now have absolutely no choice to attack. So I think in the long term of the Tour, not the worst thing in the world. It's not like they lost 3 or 4 minutes. They're still very much in contention, and they both got strong teams, and this is going to make for one exciting and attacking Tour. Let's go. And before we have a look at the stage 8 profile, we'll quickly have a look at the outright betting now on Sunbet. 7 to 10, Roger. He continues to firm slightly in the betting. Egan Bernal 3 to 1. We've then got quite a big gap to Tom Dumoulin, who's still hanging around there. He fell off the one day, but he's done nothing wrong so far. Thibaut Pinot 12 to 1. He's starting to look better and better after his crash. Nairo Quintana, he's been a bit of a surprise so far in how well he's been going. He went very well on stage 4. And today in the crosswind seemed to have absolutely no trouble staying there. The little climber is looking good. The question is whether he's going to avoid the bad days that have been plaguing him of late. There's my fancy Tadej, unfortunately dropping back today, but I still think even here this 3 to 1 for a podium may not be bet. This man tends to get stronger as the tour goes on, and I can tell you he's not done yet. He's going to give us some attacking riding. Adam Yates sits in the yellow jersey, but I do believe him that he's targeting stages. He's going to try and hang on to yellow for as long as possible. I see you can get 7 to 10 that he loses the jersey tomorrow with Sunbet. I think he might. Lopez 22, Alaphilippe 28 to 1, and 33 to 1, and better the balance. Let's just have a quick look at the mountain classification because that hasn't really got going in earnest. And here we've got Alaphilippe as favourite at 11 to 2. But I did spot a little bit of a fancy that I wanted to put up. In fact, I've just realised even now that I've forgotten to write my bets down, so I'll just run through them quickly at the end of the stage. But if we have a look here at the King of the Mountains, one name caught the eye. Someone who I fancy might be in the break, and I'm going to have a unit or two on him for the stage as well. And it's Hugh Carthy, 40 to 1. He lost quite a bit of time today, and I think he's going to be targeting the break tomorrow and may be able to hoover up a few mountain points. He's 40 to 1. I'm going to stick half a unit on him to win the King of the Mountains there at 40 to 1 at Sunbet. Just a quick look at the points classification where Peter Sagan, well, I mean, what a statement he made today. Unfortunately, his chain slipped, he only finished 13th in the final sprint, so you could argue that his team worked for nothing, but he did get the green jersey back. He obviously pulled some points on Bennett. He could have put Bennett almost to bed had he won the stage. He was never going to win it from the position he was in, but I think he certainly could have run top 5 or top 6, and unfortunately, a bit of a frantic finish and his chain slipped there. Bennett then survives to fight another day in the green jersey. He's 13 to 10. Wout van Aert, look, if this man was focusing on the green jersey, he would have won it by now already. That is how strong this man is riding at the moment. But of course, he's here on domestic duties first and foremost, even though he's won 2 stages. I tell you what, I'll already have him in as a virtual banker for the Paris stage. So he's not out of the green jersey race, but it would almost have to be a little bit accidental for him to win it. He's not going to contest, for example, the first bunch sprint tomorrow. In fact, I just want to go back to the stage 8 preview. I wonder what the chances are that Quick Step are going to try and keep the field together until the bunch sprint to let Sam Bennett take maximum points there. If that is the case, then we're going to get a very strong break that will go. But bear in mind, this is also quite a short stage, 140 kilometers, so the break won't really get that far ahead. And if that is the case, then probably more than likely it will come down to a favourites battle. But yeah, I'm jumping the gun onto it because we haven't actually got onto the stage analysis yet. But that's the green jersey betting. And let's move on to the stage now because, yes, we've got the sprint after 42 kilometers. And, I've got a sneaky feeling Quick Step are going to look to keep things together. Alternatively, put Bennett in a break. If Bennett goes in a break, you can bet that Peter Sagan will be there with him as well. Probably the likes of Matteo Trentin, and the guys will sprint. But it's going to be very interesting to see what sort of break goes clear. If it's a strong break and it goes clear and builds up a big lead, I think the break has got a good, strong chance here because I certainly don't see a Jumbo-Visma chasing the break for the stage win, although I do see them taking control of the race at some point. Mitchelton Scott don't look to have the strength. They're going to defend the yellow jersey early, but at some point, Yates is going to drop in his yellow jersey behind the Jumbo-Visma or potentially his next team, the Ineos train, and ride behind that and see if he can hang on to that yellow jersey. So yeah, very much a stage where it's difficult to say if the break is going to stick or if it's going to be GC. We've got 2 Cat 1 climb, 6.9 kilometers here at 8.1. And then the first out-of-category climb that we've got in the tour, 11.7 kilometers at 7.7%. Will any of the guys who lost a bit of time, maybe a lander, even try something here? I'm not sure. It might be a little bit early, but certainly the Col de Peresud, 9.7 kilometers at 7.8%. We're definitely going to get action here. We've got downhill to the end. And if you do crest this with a 20 or 30 second advantage over the chasers, you've got every chance of riding on to win the stage. It should be a really good stage. Watch it from the start because a lot is going to depend on what happens with the break. And there might be some in-running betting options as well. Let's have a look, though, at the stage betting. Yes, the stage 8 winner betting. I'm on the World Sports betting website now. We've got Primož Roglic, the favourite at 7 to 2. if it does come to a classification battle and there's a bit of a sprint at the end, it is hard to see him being beat. Perhaps the one man who can take him is Pogacar. He's 7-1. He lost a bit of time. He might also get a little bit of leeway if he attacks towards the summit of the final climb. He's young. He's fearless. Let's see what he does tomorrow. Julian Alaphilippe is 10-1. If he's there at the end, he has got the capabilities of beating Roglic in a sprint. And he showed that he is looking for stage wins. He was going very well today until he had a mechanical in the final straight. But I'm not sure I'll be backing Alaphilippe on tomorrow's stage. Daniel Martinez has lost a lot of time. This price factors in that he might find himself in the break. Formolo could also be in the break. Zacharine, these are all guys who've lost time and will probably be allowed in the break. Lopez, yeah, the way he's riding at the moment, I wouldn't put it past him. Of course, he's my long-term podium interest, so hoping he carries on going well. And let's just skim down here and find a couple of guys. Thibaut Pinot, 28-1. Here's Hugh Carthy. I'm going to have half a unit on Hugh Carthy at 28-1. And I'm going to have half a unit on Formolo. What price is he? 25-1. So I'm going to have half on Formolo at 25-1 and half a unit on Carthy at 28-1. Just going down, see if I can find anything else here. I don't think I had anything else lined up. I kind of started this preview a bit prematurely because I hadn't finalized my staking plan yet. But looking down there, probably going to be a couple of other long shot guys that get in the break. But those are the guys that I would see from the break who might do it. I'm not going to have an outright interest. I'll probably be cheering for Pogacar if he's anywhere in contention at the end of the stage. But there is a match bet I fancy, and I'm going to go across to Sunbet for this one. And am I on the stage? No, I'm just go back up to the stage betting here. Stage 8. Sunbet do have plenty of betting options for you there. There's their stage 1 betting. They're betting 4-1 Primož Roglic. But I want to go to the matchups here. And the matchup in particular that I'm looking for is Yates against Alaphilippe. They're 17-20 the pair. I'm going to call it here. I think Alaphilippe is going to crack tomorrow. I think he's going to drop out of the contention for the yellow jersey. I think Adam Yates is going to hang in there and defend his jersey. I don't say he'll defend it tomorrow, but I think he's going to give a good account of himself. And I think the 17-20 over Alaphilippe. This is going to be one of my bigger bets. I'm going 4 units. Adam Yates over Julian Alaphilippe at 17-20 in a match bet. So I've got the half a unit on Carthy, half a unit on Formolo, 4 units on Yates over Alaphilippe. And that will pretty much do me as far as betting goes on tomorrow's stage. Well, as far as this preview goes, at any rate. But let me know who you think is going to win down below in the comments section. What sort of a stage do you think this will be? I never get tired of talking Tour de France. And do go down below in the comments section as well. You'll see scrolling down below there, we've got the link to the Good for the Game forum thread where other punters place their bets on and post their bets on every stage. It should be a cracking stage. We've also got a big day on Sunday. I'll be back on Sunday morning for that preview. Gee, I see this one's run on to 13 minutes, and that's, of course, because, as you can hear, I'm still so excited about Stage 7, which I thought was an absolute belter. I will be posting my bets in the Good for the Game forum, and no doubt will add a match bet treble as well, even though I've had heartbreak on virtually every treble I've placed this Tour de France. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the stage. I'm sure we're going to be in for another.